Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. We'll go back to Connecticut shortly. But first, in the Factor follow-up segment tonight, the talking points memo. Mexico insulting every single American citizen. 27-year-old John Hammer, former Marine Lance Corporal from Florida, remains in a Mexican prison tonight, charged with gun possession. But the charge is totally bogus. Last summer, Corporal Hammer registered an antique shotgun handed down to him from his great-grandfather with American customs officials in Brownsville, Texas. Hammer was then told by the American agents to take the paperwork across the border to Mexican officials, and he would be fine to travel on to Costa Rica for a hunting trip. When Hammer did check in with the Mexicans in Matamoros, he was promptly arrested and charged with carrying a deadly weapon. That was last August. Despite many attempts by the U.S. government to get Hammer released, Mexico will not do it. And so he sits in a filthy prison 10 days before Christmas. That's simply unacceptable. Everybody knows Corporal Hammer did nothing wrong. So why doesn't Mexico just release him in the name of goodwill? For years, Talking Points has been telling you that Mexico does not act like a friend to the USA. In fact, I've stopped going to the country because I do not believe they are looking out for us. The John Hammer case proves this. Mexico's new president, Enrique Peña Nieto, should release Hammer immediately, right now. We understand high-level negotiations are taking place, and there is some optimism the corporal will soon be free. But why is it taking so long? And how did it ever happen in the first place? We will stay on the story. And that's a memo. Now for reaction, joining us from Washington, Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, who is deeply involved in the case. I don't understand this. I really don't understand how you can have somebody in jail for 4 months who didn't do anything. And everybody's involved, the State Department. I assume the president knows about this. So try to tell me what's going on.
Well, we are outraged as well, Bill. In fact, it is so incomprehensible that when the mother first came to us with the case, we said, oh, something must be wrong here. Sometimes constituents stretch the truth a little bit.
Sure.
This cannot be happening.
But it is.
And the more we investigated, that's right, we found out absolutely everything that she was saying was absolutely correct. And in fact, in my conversation just 2 days ago with the Mexican ambassador, he told me that right now John Hammer is chained to his bed. Why? Because they had to move him from the general population of those criminals into an area that is less secure. And in that area that is less secure, it is so unsecure that they fear that he will escape. And in order to overcome that fear, they have chained him to his bed.
Does the Mexican ambassador, when you talk to the Mexican ambassador, does he justify this? I mean, he doesn't have the power to release him. I guess the Mexican Attorney General will have to do that. But does he justify this travesty?
No, and I don't want to talk about conversations that I've had with this official or the other official. I can tell you this, Bill. The Mexican government is probably even going to be powerless because they believe that they're under siege by these drug lords, and they have ceded control to these gangsters. And so the folks who are administering this terrible prison is not the Mexican government, but these drug lords.
Are you telling me, Congresswoman,
are
you telling me the president of Mexico does not have enough power to release this American from that filthy prison in Matamoros? Is that what you're telling me?
I believe he doesn't have the guts to do it. Does he have the authority to do it? Yes.
Of course he does.
And this is a case that will put him to the test. You know, this is a country whose leaders, leader after leader, they love to lecture the United States about how badly we supposedly treat illegal immigrants, hogwash. And here is another case, because it is not an isolated case, of an American unjustifiably imprisoned. And so we call on this president to do his duty and release
I want our president to do something, too. I want Barack Obama to speak out about this. He has remained silent. So has Secretary of State Clinton. But look, I understand this much, and I think you just hinted at it. We don't want to muck up any negotiations that might be fruitful by attacking anybody and calling anybody out, making any threats. And that includes President Obama and Secretary of State Clinton. We're going to assume, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that the American government is doing what they should do. I'm assuming they are doing what they should do. Am I right? Is that right?
I don't get that feeling yet, Bill. Maybe I'll get that feeling next week.
So you want more pressure put on by Secretary Clinton and President Obama? Do you want more pressure?
Absolutely, and that's why I've reached out to my congressional colleagues. Over 50 of them have already signed a bipartisan letter to Hillary Clinton and Janet Napolitano, the head of Homeland Security, calling for their advocacy for John Hammer's release.
They need to get out in front of this. The news media, the Factory, and you and Senator Nelson, although he didn't make himself available this evening, and he should have, you guys have been out in front. All right, look. We'll give it the weekend. We'll come back Monday. We'll see where we are. We'll keep in contact with you, Congresswoman. We got to get this guy out before Christmas. Or
you are his life policy. I believe that.
Well, we'll get him out because no American is going to. Yeah, we're going to call for an absolute boycott of travel to Mexico if he's not out. Simple as that. Nobody goes.
Thank you for saving his life.
Well, no.
We've got the whole community praying for John Hammer.
We're going to work together and we're going to get it done. All right, Congresswoman. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Bill.
All right.